Dragons, the legendary creatures we've seen in games like Skyrim and soaring through the skies in Games of Thrones, are deeply ingrained in our global culture. Today, we're diving into the most powerful and fascinating types of dragons that have captivated us in myths and fairy tales worldwide. 14. The typical Western dragon. The Western dragon, a staple in European folklore and mythology, is depicted as a massive, fire-breathing creature resembling a scaly, horned lizard. These dragons boast wings akin to those of bats, sometimes even feathered, and they can have 2 to 4 legs along with a muscular tail. They're known for their powerful blood, which might grant them extended life or toxic abilities. In Christian stories, these dragons often guard treasure-filled caves or castles. There are evil dragons, typically defeated by brave heroes, and benevolent ones, offering wisdom or aid. Despite their ability to fly, they're usually found in underground caves, symbolizing their ancient earthbound nature. 13. Dragonet. Similar in appearance to their larger Western counterparts but much smaller, dragonets can range from the size of a finger to that of a human. Don't be fooled by their size, they're lethal. Hunting in groups, their toxic blood can be deadly upon contact. 12. The Chinese dragon. Known as lung or long in Chinese mythology, the Chinese dragon is a composite of various animals. It has the body of a snake, carp scales, a whale's tail, stag antlers, a camel's face, eagle talons, bull ears, tiger feet, and lobster eyes. Sometimes depicted with a fiery pearl under its chin, these dragons are closely associated with water, controlling rain, rivers, and seas. Their snake-like form, perfect for swimming, could explain their connection to water. 11. Shen. The Shen, another type of Chinese dragon, is unique with its shape-shifting abilities and is often seen as a sea creature that creates illusions. In its true form, the Shen is a gigantic serpentine dragon adorned with shimmering green and gold scales, moving in a mesmerizing pattern. Rarely seen in its true form, it prefers disguises like a pheasant, shellfish, or pearl. Instead of sleeping, a Shen might remain in a pearl state for years before revealing its true dragon form again. 10. The African dragon. African dragons may not be as famous as dragons from Western or Asian cultures, but they are just as fascinating. These dragons usually look more like giant snakes than the typical dragon image we're used to. Depending on the region and story, they might have legs, or they might not. African dragons are a big part of African culture, showing up in myths, religious stories, and tribal legends. You can find tales about these snake-like dragons in many towns and villages across Africa, each with its own unique twist on the dragon's appearance and abilities. 9. Wyvern. Wyverns are creatures that resemble serpents with wings. They stand out from other dragons because they have only 2 legs, a spiked tail, and can't breathe fire. Wyverns are often shown standing on their legs and tail, sometimes with their claws raised high. Sometimes they're depicted without wings, and their tails are more slender. These creatures are popular in heraldry and logos, serving as mascots or symbols. 8. Lindworm. The lindworm is a type of dragon, but it looks a lot like a big snake. In many stories from different places, lindworms don't have wings or back legs. They have a long, snake-like body and the head of a dragon. Their skin is covered in scales, and they have 2 clawed arms in front. Instead of walking, lindworms move by slithering on the ground like snakes. They use their arms to help them get around. They're different from wyverns, another dragon type, because wyverns use their limbs for walking and lindworms do not. 7. Amphib Teer. The Amphib Teer is another kind of dragon. It's unique because it looks like a snake with no arms or legs, but it has wings. These wings are often described as light and feathery, like the colors you see at sunrise. Amphib Teers are similar to lindworms because of their snake-like bodies, but they have wings that look like a mix between bat wings and bird feathers, usually green. They also have long tails. Some Amphib Teers are completely covered in feathers, with pointy tails and wings like birds, and their faces might look like a bird's beak. A few of them even have legs. What makes Amphib Teers special in the world of mythical creatures is how they blend features of birds and snakes. 6. Hydra. The Hydra is a legendary dragon known for its multiple heads and incredible power. The number of its heads varies in different stories. What makes the Hydra especially terrifying is its ability to grow 2 heads in place of 1 if it's cut off. This made the Hydra nearly impossible to defeat. The most famous story about the Hydra is when Hercules, a hero from ancient myths, fights it as one of his 12 challenging tasks. The Hydra's largest head was immortal and couldn't be harmed by regular weapons. Hercules could only defeat this head by using a special golden sword given to him by the goddess Athena. 5. Tarasque. The Tarasque is a monstrous dragon-like creature from the legends of Provence in southern France. It's not your typical dragon. It's described as being bigger than an ox and longer than a horse. It has the face and head of a lion, sharp teeth like swords, a horse's mane, a back as sharp as an axe with spiky scales, 6 feet with claws like a bear's, a tail like a serpent's, and a shell on each side, similar to a tortoise. It's a fascinating mix of different animal features. 4. Jorman Gander. In Slavic mythology, there's a dragon called Jorman Gander, which translates to mountain snake. It's depicted as a fearsome snake with 3 heads and 7 tails. It breathes flames from its nostrils, and smoke comes out of its ears. Its paws are adorned with shiny copper claws. 3. The Bakunawa. The Bakunawa, from Filipino mythology, is not just a dragon but a deity. This serpentine dragon has 2 sets of wings, whiskers, a red tongue, and a mouth as big as a lake. Ancient Filipinos believed that the Bakunawa lived in the sea when the world had 7 moons. These dragons were mesmerized by the moon's light and would rise from the sea to the sky, swallowing the moons, causing eclipses. This legend explains eclipses as the actions of these magnificent dragons. 2. Yyams. Yyams are a type of dragon often found in European folklore, resembling serpents. The name comes from the Norse word worm, which originally meant any dragon. However, today, Yyam specifically refers to dragons that look like worms. These dragons are known for their elongated bodies, and they either lack legs altogether or have very small ones. This distinct shape sets them apart from other dragons and adds to their mystique in various tales and legends. 1. Chaos dragons. Chaos dragons appear across various mythologies, including in the Bible, and are often associated with apocalyptic events or the end of the world. 3 of the most famous chaos dragons are Jorman Gander. In the dramatic realm of Norse mythology, Jorman Gander, the Midgard serpent, stands as a colossal force of chaos. Born from the cunning Loki and giantess Angrboda, this immense serpent encircles the world, its tail in its mouth, symbolizing life's endless cycle. Its fate intertwines with Thor, the thunder god, in a prophecy foretelling a cataclysmic clash during Ragnarok, the end of the world. Their legendary enmity peaks in a fearsome battle where Jormungandr emerges from the ocean, unleashing havoc with tidal waves and venomous breath. Thor, wielding his mighty hammer Mjolnir, confronts the serpent in a clash of titans. Despite Thor's valor, Jormungandr's venom brings his downfall, marking a pivotal moment in Ragnarok. This epic battle, leading to their mutual destruction, symbolizes the constant struggle between order and chaos, highlighting the transient nature of power and the inevitable cycle of destruction and renewal in the cosmos. Apophis. In ancient Egyptian tales, Apophis is a huge, scary snake that brings chaos. He's the enemy of Ra, the sun god, always trying to stop the sun's journey, bringing darkness and storms. Apophis wasn't always known in Egyptian stories. He first appeared in texts from the Middle Kingdom, a time of big changes in Egypt. Some stories say Apophis came from the saliva of the goddess Neith, or from Ra's umbilical cord, making him as old as the sun god. Each night, Apophis tries to attack Ra's sunboat. Gods like Set and Isis join Ra to fight him. They beat Apophis, but he comes back every night. Egyptians were scared of him because they thought he caused solar eclipses and earthquakes. To keep Apophis away, they had special rituals where they made and destroyed snake figures, thinking this helped Ra win. Leviathan. Leviathan is a giant, terrifying sea creature from the Bible. It's like a big dragon that lives in the sea, sometimes shown with many heads. You can read about Leviathan in the books of Job, Psalms, and Isaiah. It's more than just a monster. It's a symbol of chaos and evil. People believe that Leviathan eats the souls of the bad people after they die. The Bible says that one day Leviathan will be destroyed, which is a way of showing that good will win over evil and chaos. This sea monster is a powerful image in religious stories, teaching about the battle between order, good things, and chaos, bad things. The idea of Leviathan shows how people back then thought about the world, a constant struggle between good and bad, with good eventually coming out on top. Which dragon do you like best and why? Tell us in the comments. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe for more.